had like a base for their strategy, but Braum is what's about to make this strategy into kind of like the terrifying force that is going to be.
They are trying to dive, but it seems that there is a counter engage by the Vladimir. Shen takes quite a bit of damage, but turret aggro does half health several members. Elise is about a third health because of the Vladimir ult that just started to wear her down. Brand is coming in. He's trying to get a little aggro. He throws out his stun, but it's not able to connect and hits a minion instead. Draven is continuously throwing out these spinning axes, trying to get damage in and push the wave. Rumble up top, tried to make an engage. He ults, but Kog'Maw takes him down, getting more blood and looks to be getting this turret. The counter fall by the Vladimir bot lane pushed NAEVI off that bot turret, and this should be a very solid win by the Hokages as far as objectives go.
Not really sure Lulu needed to ult just then to try and get that
interesting.
tower.
It seemed like they had forgotten that when minions die and are no longer near tower, there is a significant amount of armor that is regained by that turret when there are no minions nearby.
Right.
And that made it so Kog'Maw could not finish up that turret. Now Braum is defending with his shield. He is actually able to force turret aggro onto them, but they bide their time and just wait for those last couple of autos to finish off the turret.
Right, and that's going to help equalize the game a little bit. Right now, the Hokages are only down by about 2.5k gold. So, I mean, the game is definitely in Navy's favor a little bit, but right now it looks like everyone's still on even footing. They might have a little more gold, but that's not necessarily stopping anyone from potentially taking advantage of anything in this game.
Speaking of taking advantage of things in this game, we are seeing Rift Herald being taken by NAEVI, which is interesting, not something you see a lot unless you have a very powerful top laner already that you want to be split pushing, which is this Rumble. He may not be incredibly fed, but he still has a lot of damage.
Okay.
Vladimir goes in deep. He's not able to secure it. Rumble ult comes down, and it seems like Vladimir is taking so much damage by just standing in the middle. Brand ult goes in, hurts both Lulu and Ivern. Everyone is on their back feet. Nobody is doing that well. Kog'Maw able to secure a kill, but Draven finishes the Shen instead. And quickly, Brand falls to the Kog'Maw. Draven trying to go in, but the Kog'Maw damage is just too much. Triple kill for Kog, looking to make it a quadra. And will he be able to finish this off? He is out of mana, but Braum is running away for his life, same as Rumble.
Now it's a good time for Hokages to go ahead and take mid to help equalize the game a little bit after that substantial team fight that ended up putting a few kills on Kog'Maw, getting him caught all the way back up in terms of, well, not necessarily caught all the way back up. It definitely does help with his money difference between Draven, because I know some of Draven's stacks definitely paid off. And
we are actually seeing only a 400 gold difference between, or 700 gold difference rather, between those two.
Right.
Which is still very significant for Draven.
Right.
But Kog'Maw definitely making a lot up in that team fight. And his damage and items that he picks up will retain effectiveness far later in the game than the Draven, who is, while punishing later, still very early game focused, whereas Kog'Maw retains that potential and spreads it across an entire team for damage.
It looks like Kog'Maw is actually about to start building a Rage Blade.
That is definitely going to be interesting because with his current build, he has Blade of the Rune King, which means he has very, very effective and powerful damage against tanks, plus it provides a decent amount of attack damage and attack speed as well.
Right.
If he grabs that Rage Blade, when he begins his assault, he will be able to continue this relatively solid attack speed and make it so he is consistently able to get that Rage Blade proc off and do so much spread damage through the team.
Right, and considering there's quite a few slows on his team, that's going to be really good for him to kind of stick with targets.
He
both teams
just finished the purchase of Rage Blade, and as you can see, that adds a little ability power, which Kog'Maw also gains quite a bit from with all of his abilities to scale off AP. There is a reason I used to play AP Kog'Maw mid. It is incredible at sieging.
All right, so it looks like Shin's going back in, and he has some buddies up here now. Rumble throws down his ult to try and separate these guys out, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Elise comes up here to try and help, but she is unable to get there fast enough. The spider's coming down. It looks like Brand tries to throw some extra damage down, but he's unable to secure any kill or help anyone else secure a kill with his efforts. And as a result, oh no, they're still down a little bit. But it looks like everyone is starting to move a little bit towards another team fight. It looks like Shin got his taunt off. Brand goes down, and so does Elise with the Vlad. Looks like things are about to turn a little terrifying as Hokages start to move towards Baron. They're only down 400 gold, but this is how they completely take the lead in this game and also force some really difficult situations moving forward for Team NAEVI.
Absolutely. One thing that I noticed during that team fight was when Elise and Brand were trying to counter-engage after the Rumble fell. Brand threw out his ult, but he threw it and didn't hold it until Vlad had finished his blood pool. So when it hit Lulu, it did not have any target to bounce off of,
right.
And thus all of that massive teamfight damage potential was wasted. Obviously, Hokages noticed that and continued the engage and pushed it further, knowing that there was not that potential for massive spread teamfight percent health damage that Brand can frequently provide simply with that one ability.
Yeah, that was really quick thinking too, because not many people would have actually put 2 and 2 together and immediately went back in. They might have said, all right, for the next team fight, we don't necessarily have to worry about this. But these guys saw that, they immediately acted on it, and it definitely got them lots and lots of dividends based off that action.
Absolutely. When you know that the most powerful ability on the enemy team at the moment is down, they just went in and took full advantage of that, turning the originally bad trade around and collapsing back on top of the people. And they have Baron and now are winning the gold lead to show for it.
Right. And it looks like they actually are, it looks like they're going to try to start pushing top. Shin's kind of acting as decoy right now, so they're sending a few people up to try and deal with Shin. But these guys are all waiting in a bush, and Lulu's actually been seen, so I don't know if, and they did definitely ping that too, so I don't know if they're necessarily going to back out or if they're going to do anything different, but Hokages needs to figure out a way to take advantage of this Baron buff, because if they aren't able to do that, then that kind of, does that actually block vision?
The Baron buff, or
no, the fact that Ivern just put a bush in the grass, or put a bush in a bush.
When he does that, if he's a little outside of it, it does grant him temporary vision of the area that he placed the bush in,
okay.
Which does end up being very effective because it can allow you to essentially place a very, very short duration ward that turns into a temporary bush in the enemy jungle. But again, the enemy, if you aren't careful about its placements, can find that bush just as effective as you.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering about that because they put that ward down, and I was thinking they probably still saw them, but I just didn't necessarily know if that might have changed anything. All right, so it looks like there's a siege going on in bot lane. It looks like they're trying to break open the base.
Brand ult comes out and it's bouncing around the team. Will any of the damage end up sticking? Rumble ult goes down, but so many people are falling to this charge into the base with the Kog'Maw and Vladimir.
This might be game.
Especially the Vladimir able to damage people.
This might actually be game here.
Kog'Maw doesn't even need to be in this fight. He is focusing towers and taking his sweet time recovering that health as the enemy team, with their tails between the legs, falls at the sight of this vampire and this dog.
That's a good way to describe that. Vampire and his pet dog, right? And yeah, that was actually a really well put together victory for Team Hokage.
Very decisive. Once they noticed that Brand ult was down, since at the moment the only other major team fight impacting ult that was anywhere nearby them had already been killed just a few moments ago with the Rumble. And since Elise, while her flexible nature does provide a decent amount of damage, she was not able to deal with the massive power that the team provided, especially when they coordinated that collapse and then took Baron and then the game off that push.
Right, and that was just kind of like a textbook example of what happens when you have everyone on the same page, and when you have a pretty decent shot caller who's able to kind of organize everyone in terms of their plan moving forward. That was perfect.
And we should have the face cam going right now, but maybe I screwed something up. Overall, it seems that this game, again, as soon as that Rumble was picked out, there was just some very, very high quality League of Legends gameplay that happened. So few mistakes ended up being made.
No.
And what happened was, because there weren't mistakes that were being made,
No.
sorry, apologies about all this. Let's just do this.
That works.
Hopefully.
All right.
Without those mistakes being made, it just caused so many problems for NAEVI to deal with, because their bot lane was pushing, trying to get a tower, while the entire Hokage team was at Baron securing that buff and that long-term advantage for their team. They never got their feet back under them, and Hokages were able to just easily siege and push through with their Baron-empowered minions, as well as the excellent siege that is provided by having so much durability and dive potential on a Shen, and then the long range on a Kog'Maw.
Right. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and take a small break. Not a long break. We're gonna take a small break while all the teams kind of take a breather and get themselves prepared for their next match. This is a best of 3 series, so with this first game going down, Milwaukee or MKE Hokages go ahead and take the first game of this 3-game set. Again, we're going to take a small break, so we hope to see you when we get back.
Okay.
The night.